Hey guys, Link here coming at you guys with a video. Today I'm going to be talking about a little bit about rolling maps as well as build flexibility in PoE. I think this is kind of something that people don't really think about, and I just wanted to kind of talk about it to shed some light, and hopefully this video will help you out. This won't be as long as my other videos because, yeah. So as many of you guys know, once you hit endgame, you have to basically roll maps, right? There's a couple ways to do this. A lot of people like to just, do the typical put the map in your inventory, and then you chisel it, and then you alch it, and then you check to see if, the mods are runnable or not, right? But sometimes you end up having to like scour alch a bunch of times, and it's pretty time consuming because you have to do this after every single map. So one thing I like to do is to get basically a map tab full or a tab full of the maps I need. Get a bunch of like scours in here, like so, and then kind of create like a mini crafting bench here. There's a really neat site called poe.re. If you go here, and it's basically a regex where you can click on the mods that you don't want. So in this case, like I don't want cannot leech, I don't want max res, and I think there's one like reduce aura effect and the armor one, which is somewhere here. There we go. So then I just copy these mods, post it into here. I'm going to scour all my maps, chisel them, and I'm just going to alch. And turns out all of these are perfectly fine because I have so many, right? But you can see over here I have a couple that are grayed out. Basically that means that the mod that I don't want is on here. So this one has max res, this one has cannot leech, and this one has reduced armor. So this is a really like quick way. You can see how this one got grayed out. So nice. So all these maps are runnable, and I don't really have to think about, um, I don't have to look over them to see if I'm able to run them or not, right? Obviously, this is a bit harder if you're playing hardcore and there's like mods like crit chance. Probably a good amount of builds in the beginning are going to be wanting to remove quite a bit more mods, right? But if your build is very strong, you've like level 100, you want to start blasting maps, and you want to run them with like high quant and stuff. This is a perfect way to go about doing it. And yeah, just kind of wanted to showcase PoE.re because it's definitely one of the most used tools out there that I use as a third party from a third party standpoint. Um, the next thing I wanted to talk about was build flexibility, and I know this is kind of like combining two topics into one, but it's something that I feel like people don't really think about when they either pick a build, when they want to create a build, um, or like even when they're like theory crafting a build, right? So what does build flexibility really mean? What I mean by build flexibility, I really mean like how flexible is it in terms of being able to do content? As you know, PoE, there's quite a bit of content in this game, and there's a wide variety of ranges. You generally want a well-rounded build that can, want to be able to do anything. If you're someone like more pickier, like say you want to run heist, then you probably want to pick a build that runs quickly and that runs, fast. Because like, otherwise you're gonna be kind of like you're spending a lot more time when like running slowly and not opening doors, right? So that's like something to think about. Whereas a build like on hardcore, maybe you want to do bosses, you then want a build that can have really strong defenses, that's able to do a boss like 50 times safely without dying. It's consistent and it has good DPS, right? So, uh, builds like dots are very good versus bosses because dot builds have high uptime. There's a lot of bosses that move around like Cyrus and like Maven, where if you're trying to like melee them, it's a lot more annoying, which is the reason why like spells are pretty much always meta. Um, Dot builds are very meta too, like poison. Um, But besides this, there's other content in the game, and the most obvious and the most common content is mapping, right? When you roll maps, there's a bunch of map mods that can brick your build. If you look at the most obvious one, it's Reflect. Um, Other ones are like if you're an ailment build, then you need to make sure that you don't get this mod, the avoid poison mod. If you're a poison build, if you're an ignite build, you gotta make sure you don't get avoid elemental ailments. Um, if you're low on res, like if your res is barely capped, then you won't be able to run LE weakness unless you have curse immunity. Um, and then there's this one is like the worst mod in the game. These three mods, right? Reflect, reduce aura, effective non-curse auras, because they just kind of lower your defenses without. It's not like a stat check or anything. It just straight up does it, right? There's nothing you can go around. There's not much you can build around it, unless you're playing like some build that only has one aura, or like not even using an aura, which doesn't make any sense, right? But that's what I mean by like thinking about build flexibility. When you create a build is like, for example, like one thing that you can think about is when you choose a starter build, poison builds are very good in the early starter um, in the early moments of league start. And the reason is that poison is a chaos build, right? And chaos builds can ignore all of reflect. They also don't care about like enfeeble. They don't care about, you know, I guess like chaos in general. If we were to not even think about poison, then they don't care about this mod as well. They don't care about spell suppress. The only thing that you might care about is like chaos resistance because then it makes it tankier. You don't care about like accuracy rating. Like already, if you look at chaos builds, they already have more flexibility. That's one reason why I love this Lightning Strike build so much is that over the course of my past year or so, I've been thinking a lot more about how am I able to run like more juiced maps in PoE and in hardcore like safely. If you think about it, you need to meet a lot more requirements in order to be able to run like a map um, say like you want to do like a full like 5 delirium orb map with like 8 um, it's a corrupted 8 mod rare map with like 4 sextants. You gotta realize that you have to hit more requirements. um, so that's the reason why like Inquisitor was so strong because like like past couple leagues you had like curse immunity because of consecrated ground, you had like insane regen, you can hit all these like max resistances, you have like high EHP, and that's why like I think this build in particular is also very good for that. Lightning Strike. You know we get uh, we get reflect immunity from woke elemental damage with attacks. Cannot regen. We don't really care about if we run an enduring mana flask. So it's just solved with a flask swap, right? So it's not the end of the end of the world. Minus player max player res is probably the worst because it does lower our defenses quite a bit. But when it comes to mapping, if you're not doing anything like completely crazy, you can still run these maps because I was running maps at the very start of my when I was like level 94, 95. This build only had like 75 max res. So if I lose like 10 from 90, I'm still at 80, right? It's not a big deal. Um, Probably the only deadly mod in this case would be this one. And then there is the armor one again, right? So reduced armor. Um, yeah, and I think everything else like it's all runnable. It's not the end of the world. Basically, this build kind of hits all those checkboxes, and it gives my build so much flexibility, and it's so nice when you're able to run any type of map. It makes you feel like truly like powerful. Um, so it's something to think about. I just wanted to kind of like shed some light on it. In the future, like PoE builds are gonna change. You're gonna want to build your own character. You're gonna want to copy other characters. It's not just about looking at the PoB and being like, oh, this build has so much like defenses and it has like 10 million DPS, or maybe it has like 30 million DPS. But what good is like having 30 million DPS if like all of a sudden like you can't run like these arbitrary number of mods, right, on maps. Like that's just like that's not fun, you know? Like you have this quote unquote really powerful character, but you can't even run like a simple map like Reflect, right? Like how stupid is that? Like how annoying is that, right? So just wanted to you know just make it so that it's something that you're conscious about and you think about it because it's very important. And I think it's something that I feel like a lot of people don't really even think about when they're crafting or even choosing a build. So in any case, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoy and learn something new. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll try to put out some more content like this. Thanks. Bye bye.